Looks like we're gonna be jumping in with game one with Ike and Shulk coming up here.
Yeah,
Puffin
so
and Jerm making their way into lose quarters.
Jerm is old guard for Ottawa. This guy, he wrote the Shulk book for Smash 4, not just for Ottawa, but in general. He was the guy who put out these Shulk guides in the very beginning of Smash 4, how to play this character, and then has been doing the same in Ultimate ever since. Spends a lot of time in Montreal, plays with all the guys out there, plays quite a lot. Actually won doubles today as well.
Oh wow!
With double Shulk, him and Archery managed to win it. Yep.
That's definitely an insane team, and right now it looks like Jerm's going to need to bring some of that prowess with him because he's finding himself down in percent against Puffin, who is going to town with these neutral airs.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that Shulk has to throw around is the size of that sword, Absolutely. But Ike, one of the only characters with a bigger one.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of an adaptation that needs to come into the play of Jerm right now, because you're seeing a character like Ike, as you mentioned, has a huge sword as well, so he's used to being the big slow guy with a huge weapon, and now Shulk is like the nimble one, but he's got the range. So now he's got to fight someone on equal terms, so to say. And I'm really excited to see how Jerm goes through his Minato shuffling, and selecting which one for each scenario. Because although Ike has somewhat of a limited recovery, it's still pretty effective against most characters. And this is a matchup that I feel like I don't see too often here myself. And that upper is going to take it right now. It looks like he was maybe trying to jump out of that, or maybe go into the shield, and unfortunately had to jump Minato. But looks like Puffin's going to take that first stock.
Yeah, quite likely also looking to get into that jump, hopefully get the safe landing, get the up throw, up air that comes with that jump Minato. A nice, easy kill confirm as well. I know Jerm does really tend to like to use the up tilt for kill confirms. Exceptionally strong move, but when you're playing against a character like Ike, who has that big sword to contest with you, I almost like using it more as an anti-air.
You know what? That's a great point that you're making, because the fact that Ike's approach options are also somewhat limited and linear. So if you're able to really take advantage of the fact that you need to make him jump in, that up tilt, where you can say, is what I'd like to see Jerm go ahead and start implementing in his game. But right now,
that was a filthy strong backer coming out of the Ike right there. One of the things that you saw a lot of the Shulk players doing in our doubles bracket is actually using the air slash out of shield, the fastest move that they have out of shield. They also used it as a combo finisher, and just an overall anti-air. In the end, not doing too well against the Ike, however. The heavier body just kind of falling out of the first hit.
Yeah, and it may just, like I was mentioning, it really just comes down to a little bit of adaptation, because I think Jerm's slowly starting to figure out what he needs to do. But that's one of the difficulties of having to adapt in game, is that you're giving up a lead and potentially suspending games.
Yeah.
Whoa! Wow! Great double forward. They're almost taken out, just like you had mentioned with that edge guard.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that in doubles, and I definitely expect to see a lot of it here. The down smash at ledge as well. I expect to see, obviously, Ike's recovery being very, very exploitable, and the big disjoints that Jerm is carrying with this Shulk. Tried for it right there with the backslash.
I like the option of the backslash against Ike's recovery. He has tried it twice, hasn't been successful yet, but it looks to be a really, really intricate edge guard, and I'd love to see it pay off. But he's got to be careful, because letting Ike back on stage, not a lot of fun. But that backslash is going to take the stock.
It's such a strong move, and it's such a good landing option as well.
Absolutely.
It's hilarious when they try to do it from mid stage though, because you have that moment of please space it properly, because you microspace just a little bit and you fly right off stage,
and then you're giving up a stock in the worst possible way. But from what we were looking at earlier, Jerm's actually doing a great job of bringing us back until that dash attack seals the stock, but we saw him bring it back to a last stock scenario, so there's definitely some fighting in him, and probably just going to be a little bit more adapting. I really felt like he used that game to understand what he had to do, and towards the end of it, we saw a real duel about to happen.
Yeah, it's a video game age-old adage of game one is for data. Right? Anybody who's competed before will tell you the same thing. Game one doesn't mean anything. Like, sure, it puts you in the 1-0 situation, but it's all data. It's what can you learn from the other person, and as long as you take something out of that game one that you can implement in game two, you can bring it back to a tie, and then it's like the set never started.
Absolutely. It's really cool to see when those players do finally adapt in game two, because I'm going to say it's a skill, being able to adapt, after one game of data. Not a lot of players have that ability, and it really comes down to, I feel like you're disciplined, and understanding what you have to do. And I definitely want to see some more adaptation in this game for hopefully a Game 5 scenario, because a lot of these sets have been a lot of fun, and there's no reason to stop training now.
Definitely not, especially when you get two, like you mentioned, almost strange characters. It's a matchup you've never seen before, and it's probably a matchup that they don't play much. I mean, I know Puffin does play Wi-Fi every now and then, and when you're playing Ike, you're going to run into everything. Obviously, the Shulk's online, but you don't run into a lot of Ikes. at all.
Yeah, and the game is always going to be different offline than it is online, regardless of what anyone says due to latency. But I mean, the experience isn't something you can ever count out. And that, oh, there's the range that we were talking about. With that down tilt, he was able to clip the recovery. And already, unlike game one, we have Jerm jumping up to a pretty big lead, quick 50%.
Yeah, this right here is a Monado art I'd love to see a lot more of utilized in this matchup, just the speed. I mean, yes, you deal less percent when you're in that situation. You take a little more knockback, I believe, is what happens there, as well as the downside to it. But the advantage that it gives you when you have similar disjoints to Ike, but when you have literally twice the speed.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like against a character like Ike, he's not somebody you want to... I like to use the term box. You know, you don't want to box him. You don't want to fight him head-to-head. You really want to be more nimble around him, keep yourself in advantage state. And I feel like the speed Monado, as you're mentioning, is a great tool to do just that. And, you know, we definitely saw him take advantage of it, really just chip away. You know, not necessarily looking to get the big KO. That's not his job. You know, he's using that speed art to really just keep himself in advantage just like that.
Exactly. And the one thing I'll point out that we've really only seen one jump art Monado art outside of the one that he died with. He's only used it once or twice since then, just in ledge guard situations to make sure that he himself can get back safely. And it is because, if I remember correctly, jump is the art where you take the most knockback.
I believe so, and yeah, especially against this type of a matchup where you're playing a character who's known for being a powerhouse. I mean, it's surprising when you die at like 60-70%. Now we're talking about 40-50 if he gets you with the right hit. Yeah.
Speaking of the right hit, looking to get that up throw into the fair, not confirming this time around. Good jump out on Jerm's part. A little too high for it to be true.
Oh, and there's that heavy hit.
Yeah. Was he high enough to land on the platform?
I think so. I think he just fast fell through it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good mix-up option. Obviously, the up smash of Ike and the up tilt of Ike both hit through that as well. Both incredible kill moves in the end, but Puffin, too patient. Just waited to death.
Yeah, and I believe that Ike's forward smash can reach over the platform. I believe it can.
I would not be surprised.
It seemed like a pretty dire situation. Whoa. Oh, my God.
That was one of the ballsiest air touches I've seen in a long time. Into a charged ether.
Never want to be on the receiving end of one of those because above, below, in front, and sometimes even behind, that move can hit at ridiculous percents.
Exactly. Only at 56 in this current situation. Popping the low for Puffin as well. 170%. Yeah, back air. Going to end that no matter what you're at that edge.
Absolutely. And, you know, I like the fact that he's using the neutral Monado, or the no Monado, I guess you could say, default Shulk. Yeah. Because it's giving him, I think, a good base of a character. And I feel like that's when he can box him, is when he's regular. In this situation, he has speed. I feel it's beneficial for him to continue to keep that stage control. So that way you don't have to worry about Puffin swinging that huge sword and getting all this damage.
Yeah, all the way up at 103, getting that shield in, thankfully. I believe it's a frame 1 or frame 2 to get that Monado art swap in is huge when it comes to breaking out of combos. Being able to just throw that shield in and say, no more knockback.
I'm going to sit right here for a second.
Yeah, this is the risky one, however. Buster, obviously, you give and take more percentage, but against this big bodied character, that's exactly what you want sometimes. Great DI to stay alive.
That was really, oh, that's not the Monado we wanted.
No, he's looking for that jump. It was not back on deck.
Not just yet, and he shouldn't feel too bad about that one. I mean, we all have situations where we fall down, we just got to pick ourselves up because you're never out of it, honestly.
Exactly.
So, we got to see what Jerm can do in this situation. I don't know how I feel about him switching into Smash Monado so early. I can only have 50. Because those couple few hits that you get, you want to capitalize on. And I feel like at that point, maybe it would have been better to go Buster just to get some damage.
Now, I don't know Shulk well enough to know whether or not on stock loss all of your Monados reset or if they stay on the same time.
I believe they reset.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I was reading up on them before this set and actually forgot already. I'm just so caught up in the actual matches themselves. The height that air slash gets at the jump art
is so deceptive.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What a pickup. That's it.
That was an incredible forward air that just caught him right on the ledge right before the snap. I don't want to call it a two-frame because he didn't get his recovery back. He just extremely well spaced.
Yeah, that's one of those situations when you have that big hitbox, in this case that big aerial hitbox, hits underneath him ever so slightly, it gets extended by the stage. That's been in Smash for so long.
Yep.
You can pick people up before they get even relatively close to the Magnetan immunity.
Now, I want to say we did definitely see a different game 2 than we did in game 1, and although it may not have, I mean, it was relatively close to the same result, I definitely did see a change in playstyle, so the adaptation is there. The ability to adapt is there is what we are seeing from Jerm. It's just now a matter of being consistent with it throughout the whole game rather than just a couple of stops.
I would say the big thing that we saw was we did see adaptation from Jerm. He did control the first stock of that game very well. It got turned around on him because Puffin also made that big change immediately. As soon as he saw Jerm, like you said, using less of the Monados, playing a little more in just basic Shulk, kind of saying, I need this consistent combo game, and then going into the Monado arcs to try and get the kills. Puffin swapped it out. He said, all right, I'm going to play a little more passive. I'm not going to pressure you the same way anymore. I'm just going to empty hop in your face. You're going to hold shield until I land, and then I'm going to tilt you instead.
Yeah, so we're definitely seeing great adaptation from both players, and just these consistent neutral areas. I love that he's able to successfully follow up on the platforms and just get his damage, you know? And it's very underrated. A lot of players just try to go for the fanciness. You just want to get yours.
Yeah. It's one thing that I preach all the time to so many players, because I definitely try to look at the analytics of the game a lot more than anything else. If you have something that's working for you in the game, even if you get them at kill percent, keep doing the same thing. They'll die eventually. You don't have to swap your game plan out to, okay, I need to get my kill confirmed now. If they keep walking into your up tilt, keep up tilting. It's fine.
Because the name of the game is to take the stock eventually.
Yeah.
Not, you know, oh wow, there it is. There's the backslash to counter the up B recovery.
Yeah, that's if Puffin had actually let himself fall just a little lower before that, obviously when he jumped up, he jumps a little higher than his sword, would have been able to snap in a little safer in that situation, but the early up B usage gets him caught and loses the stock.
Okay, I like how oh my goodness, he took that full front forward smash. Survived it with the shield, but then went straight into jump, and unfortunately did not survive that forward air.
Yeah, that's what happens when your shield Monado runs out. Sometimes it's just one more hit. He comboed with 2 hits of the down air on the ground. He wasn't even in the air.
Sometimes it's fun to get that stuff. You know, I love seeing just high, fast-paced combos, high-octane combos. You know, just went across the stage. Really gets your eyes like moving around the screen. That's a lot of fun.
I have a love-hate relationship with Shulk as a result of that, because when he's in the speed and when he's in the jump, you see that stuff. It's crazy and it's so much fun, and then he puts shield on.
And then it's just a totally different game.
Well, and then you see an Ike F smash at 130, and he moves 6 inches to the left. Yeah, but that's the pros and cons of the character, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. And oof, I think that was a tricky spot to switch into shield. I'm not sure. There you go. Yeah, that's more so I think what he was planning on doing. He did get out of the combo, but I felt like he was gonna. One of the drawbacks with shield is that although you will survive, yes, you get a lot slower, but then because you take a lot of this knockback, you're able to take more damage because they're gonna hit you more, and you're gonna, although retain some of that hit stun, that'll lead into more hits. And so I was a little scared there as he was just about to get combo.
Yeah, he did manage to, like you said, to combo break in that situation. It does also have, if you're not great swing with that forward air in the smash Monado arc to end that. I was going to say, if you aren't actively dodging or attacking, I believe it comes with 12 frames of invincibility there. So that's really one of the big things that lets you combo break with it as well. It isn't just being able to throw shield in, it's giving you that quick little, you can't actually touch me kind of split second. Looking for that.
The backslash, he was able to clip him and trade. Great stage control. He was able to get 60% off that, so this is looking very well for Jerm's last stock. You know, we've seen him in that situation where he's been down every time, and that just neutral air to forward air combo, full screen. You know, that's the benefit of having speed. You're able to cover so much ground.
He went from the jump Monado art on the right side of the stage, jumped all the way across to the left, wave landed while he was changing to the speed Monado, and then got that straight. That's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see come out of a Shulk.
Oh yeah, and that's knowledge of the character and understanding. Oh my!
What
goodness.
a counter!
That's gonna do it. Especially when you're in Smash now, that will do it.
I love that Smash Ultimate has seen so much more use of counters than what you saw outside of Corrin in Smash 4.
That was ridiculous, though. Like, let's be real.
It was an 88 degree angle counter at, it was like 2.5 times knockback.
Yeah, it was absolutely bonkers. There's no reason for it to be that strong. And I want to give a shout out to the development team for doing a great job of helping balance that move.
Yes.
If you will, but looks like right now, Puffin's going to need a little bit of help because he was on the verge of a 3-0 when this game started, and now it's looking like Jerm has some life in him. Yeah,
Jerm is definitely a loser's run type of player, and he wants to bring the reverse 3-0 all the way.
And that's the first step of getting that first game because, you know, comebacks, they feel like such a journey, you know, especially in a 3-out-of-5 set where you have to win 3 straight games. But once you get that first one under your belt, that's when your momentum picks up.
And that's one of my favorite things about being able to be the person sitting here. We get to experience the whole intro story of the first 2 games, and then you get to see the nice big redemption arc almost come through. It's like, it feels like a very well-written story. And but then it gets to game 5 and you don't want you don't know who the hero is anymore.
At that point, yeah, because all of a sudden everyone was rooting for the underdogs, now rooting for the guy not to get, reverse 3-0, because that can be demoralizing sometimes, And unfortunately, that's the nature of the game that we play, where you'll see it actually quite often. I mean, never say die is a great attitude, but also to stay consistent is just as important, because this is a game where it's I like to say it's very momentum based.
Yeah.
And if you can control the momentum, you dictate the pace. If you dictate the pace, you can control neutral a little bit better. From there, you just break down the little bits of the game.
You completely broke down two of my favorite talking points, and two of the things that I believe, like people like you, people like me, the more veteran people in the scene need to have the conversations with the 17 and 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds, even 15, as they come in, is making sure that they have that very centered and solid mental game going into this. First off, realizing it's just a game.
Oh yeah.
Right? You need to make sure you're having fun while you're playing it, or it's not actually worth playing. But also not letting SDs and simple losses get into your head.
Yes.
And then also realizing that pace control in a match is key. We mentioned after game 2 the adaptations that Jerm had been making, but then how quickly Puffin also changed it back. He realized Jerm was changing his gameplay, so Puffin started standing still. He started empty hopping, just kind of fully controlling the pace. We see a lot of that happening in Ottawa. Our Ottawa players have such good strategic changes in terms of pace control. Speaking of control,
I think Jerm figured it out. You see, he's been doing a short hop when he attempts to do the backslash, as opposed to just being grounded and turning around doing it. It looks like there's a little bit more adaptation in Jerm. He really looks different from the first couple of games.
Yeah, definitely feeling a little more comfortable in this matchup. Calling him out with that fair.
He caught the very top of that forwarder to get that edge guard. That was fantastic.
The timing is everything when it comes to little things like that. Landing on the edge there as well. It's just little finesse moments is really what it comes down to when you have, I would say, evenly matched players in this match.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first couple of games, although they were decisive, aren't indicative of exactly how good each player is, because we're seeing changes in the game, and credit to Puffin for adapting as well in those first 2 games. It's hard, especially against a player that's veteran just like Jerm. So you're going up against somebody who they're used to this. So
he had the read on that jump Monado art recovery right there, and just barely misspaced his up air.
And if you can tell, before that back air, there was a lot of just little exchanges that Jerm was just coming out on. Even if it was just like a couple percent or maybe a hit or two, that's where I would say you can define someone's momentum. And right now we're seeing, we're seeing Puffin trying to break it. I still think the momentum is heavily in Jerm's favor, because he has percent lead. He's catching these, he's baiting the shield, and the shield grabs. He's just getting his damage. But now I think we're seeing Puffin come alive in this game 4.
Yeah, he's spacing himself out a little bit better, realizing that, Jerm does have the bigger sword here, so I need to time my hits. But
there it is. There's that short hop to backslash.
And that's not a character, or sorry, that's not a player issue. That's a character issue right there. That's one of the 2 things you can take advantage of when you're playing this game is it who you're going to be, right? Are you going to be the player, or are you going to be the character?
And right now we're seeing both of these guys. They attempt. I feel like it was a little bit of a player advantage in the beginning, but now it's coming down to, I think these guys are dead even. It's really going to be a matter of who can grind out the matchup better.
Yep. Puffin getting caught by the first hit of that up B from the Shulk. There's the shield coming out. Gonna live just a little bit longer off of it. Ooh, interesting mix-up. I like it.
I love the option to use shield to land. Oh no, he went too far.
Yep.
He went too far and didn't cancel the actual animation, so he drifted with a lot of momentum. I think he was in speed before.
He was in speed, canceled it to the jump, but like I said, if you're not throwing out the hitbox, it gives you those invincibility frames. Unfortunately, they're also inactive frames. So fell too far, but had the backup stock, so now it's a much closer game 4 than what we were watching.
Yeah, and just like that, we have Puffin coming out with a lead. Great patience by him, just picking and choosing his opportunities and taking advantage of it. Because sometimes when your opponents make mistakes, you shouldn't slight yourself, because that just means you played clean. So it's really a mental for both players. Oh my gosh,
that is going to be it. Another huge pickup just on the slight recovery issues that come with height.
And that's exactly how he ended the last game, where he was able to clip him with that forwarder off of the up B recovery of Ike. And we're going to have to see some adaptation the other way now, because just as we mentioned, the drama is building into this game 5. And we're going to see the climactic arc of this set.
And this is a difficult situation. I'll just go ahead and say it for me personally. Puffin's one of my favorite players, because he comes out with life and decimates some of our normal top 5 players with him. But then I love Jerm as a person. I love him. It's a gameplay. He doesn't get to come out too often, so I want him to go as far as he can. It's just like, you're finally here. Just keep playing.
Just keep going, man. Just keep going. But, you know, we're really going to see who's got the will. I think when it comes down to Game 5, it's a matter of who wants it just a little bit more. You know, both players obviously are still here for a reason. Nice reset. Gets the jab. But unfortunately, he was in speed now, so a little bit of his damage.
The other side of that, though, he would not have been able to get there for that reset if it wasn't.
Correct. So there's, you know, it's a matter of glass half full, half empty, and I think Jerm's in that situation where you were mentioning earlier. Sometimes you just want to take it. He's taking exactly what you can get, and it's giving him a lead.
Every single hit you can get on a heavy hitter like Ike matters so much because the sooner that they are at that 130 it generally takes to kill them, the better. You know, it just that at that point you can slow it down a little bit, keep them out, not let them rack the percent, and then you just need that right hit. That counter does not hit underneath them.
It was a great read, you know, seeing he was going to drop off the platform to get that aerial out. Unfortunately, did not hit underneath, but, you know, I feel like when you make those kind of reads, it can get into your opponent's head sometimes. And so that could be just as critical because the mental game, you know, is very, I think, underrated, especially in a game like Smash where there's so many dynamics that you have to really be careful with.
Yeah, you're always playing two people every single time that you play. You're not just fighting your opponent, you're fighting yourself.
Exactly.
That smash went out of art right now just a little early on him, but just land the down smash anyways. I think that would have killed even without it.
I think so. He just would have caught him in that back air. Does he have the jump? Yes, he does. Let's see. Oh, he goes for the on-stage recovery this time.
Yeah, Jerm knew he'd go for the high one, but he missed time. His up B couldn't catch him on that, getting the jump at the wrong time.
And you know that Smash Monato's exchange where he had him off the stage? If Puffin did, never mind. If Puffin was able to
platform, Jerm smart. All he did was jump side to side, and I too slow to catch him.
Yep. I mean, you definitely want to take advantage of all the tools you have. Sometimes just pressing the control stick left is all you need.
Yep. And other times, not moving is your best option. Something a lot of people do not credit enough in Smash. Standing still. One of the biggest reasons you see players like Zachary doing so incredibly well against exactly his patient game. You see him playing against players like Void. Void is so active when he's on screen, and Zachary will just stand and up smash.
That's why it's such an entertaining set, you know. Very similar to like what we have here with Puffin and Jerm, who are now dead even, you know. I don't want to consider 4% any kind of a lead, especially in this game on stock too, because it can turn around just like
that.
Oh my goodness, what an air slash. He switched into the Smash Monato, read the I believe that Puffin was trying to land on the platform. That's why he went so high. He read that option, punished him, and killed him at like about 90%.
Yeah. You were just mentioning the point of a 4% not being much of a difference. I was going to start getting into just how dangerous Ike is when you're getting over that into that 100% area, and I was going to talk completely about the wrong character. And Jerm off to the side. That dash attack takes so many stocks.
It really does. I mean, it's range. I feel like I think what's deceptive about it is the fact that he lunges a little bit, catches you off guard, and comes down a little bit faster than you'd imagine. But you know, just like that, again, credit Puffin, never just giving up. Yeah, we're right back to the dead even game.
Yeah, I gotta sign this guy with RNG, if anybody, at the moment, because, yeah, like you said,
he's got it.
Giving up. Speaking of up, I thought I was going to catch him with that one as well, but look at the percentages right now. Puffin brought it far back after losing that last stock at just 90% to Shulk smash.
And really, it's anyone's game at this point, but oh my goodness, I wasn't sure if he was going to
gets it with the back air instead.
And he completes the trifecta, the reverse 3. Oh, and I mean, that game, that set was full. That had everything. Yeah. It had your storylines, it had